Hello, this podcast is part of the True Crime Nightmare podcast, but covers cases that are not widely known and therefore do not have as much information available. All of the cases covered will be minisodes, which will typically be between 10 to 15 minutes in length. This first case is a sad case of a young mother who disappeared without a trace suddenly after enjoying a night out with some of her friends. The young woman's name is Nicola Ray, and she was 30 years old at the time of her disappearance. She was engaged to be married to a man called Timothy Barnes. Nicola was a mother to two small children, Jodie and Stevie, who were aged 11 and 8 at the time of her mysterious disappearance. Nicola and Timothy were due to marry shortly after she went missing. Nicola went missing after leaving a friend's house in the early hours of the 2nd of May of 2000. She lived in Basildon, which is a town in Essex in the south of England. The unsolved case has become one of the town's most well-known and saddest unsolved cases. Nicola Ray's body has never been found despite extensive searches, not only at the time of her disappearance, but also many years after she disappeared. Nicola's fiancé, Timothy Barnes, has been arrested on 2 separate occasions, but he has never been charged in connection with her disappearance. Her daughters, Jodie and Stevie, have not had any contact from their mother since the day that she went missing in May of 2000. They, along with Nicola's parents and other family members, as well as her many friends, would obviously like answers to what happened on that night. Police said at the time that they did not have any confirmed sightings of Nicola Ray since her friend said goodbye to her in the early hours of that fateful night. However, the police did notice that some of her clothes appeared to be missing from her home that she had shared with her fiancé and her daughters, but that no suicide note had been found at the scene. A police spokesman informed the public via the media that a number of searches and digs were not only carried out at the time, but also many years since she went missing. They have not given up finding out what had actually happened to Nicola Ray. The last known person to have seen Nicola was her friend Loretta Kenny. They had both enjoyed some drinks together along with some other friends at a local pub which was called the Moon on the Square, which was in Basildon in Essex. Her friend has been left feeling extremely upset by Nicola's disappearance and told a newspaper at the time that she prayed for a knock on the door or a telephone call from Nicola just to know that she is okay. And like I said, her fiancé was arrested twice in connection with her disappearance. The police believe that she has been murdered, and they appear to believe that her partner is the prime suspect. He was first arrested in 2001, but later released without charge. He was arrested again in February of 2010, almost 10 years after her disappearance. This time the police carried out a large dig at his house. This is the same house that he had shared with Nicola before her disappearance. He was held on bail during the search, but once again he was released without charge, but not until in November of 2010. Nicola Ray went missing in May of 2000, and the couple were due to get married shortly after that. What is known about the night that Nicola went missing is that after enjoying drinks at the local pub with friends, she went back to her friend Loretta's home. When she left Loretta's house in the early hours of the morning, she only had a distance of about half a mile to walk before she would reach her home, but she did not appear to have made it back. There is always a chance that she did actually make it back home, though, especially if her fiancé has been looked at in relation to her possible and probable murder. Nicola's friend Loretta would go on to tell the police that there were no warning signs that anything drastic was about to happen, just a normal night out, it would seem. But likewise, something could have happened on the way home. I know it was a short walk, but somebody could have picked her up or attacked her or anything. There's also, I suppose, the off chance that she disappeared of her own accord, really. But she did seem to really care about her family and her children especially. And she didn't, apart from a few clothes that were missing, The police didn't say that anything else was missing from the home, so who knows what she actually had on her at the time, whether she had enough money to disappear for any length of time, or whether she just had a few pounds on her, Nothing's really been said about that, but anything could have happened. Somebody could have randomly come along just as she was leaving her friend's house and followed her, or she could have been, murdered by her fiance, which does seem to be what the police then, and also later on, 10 years after the event, seem to believe anyway. If they were digging up parts of the property, it does seem that either they got a tip from somewhere or from someone, or other evidence had come to light for them to actually, 10 years after she'd gone missing, more or less, they decided to dig up parts of the garden, and I believe they had a really good look under the garage floor as well. So obviously that came from somewhere. They wouldn't have just done that, and also 10 years later there does seem to be reason to think that perhaps somebody had given them some information that they needed to act on. Whatever the truth is in this case, hopefully Nicola will be